Nation, it is Tuesday. I am Philip DeFranco, and this is you watching me talk about news type stuff and things that matter to me today. And the first thing I want to talk about today is something you may not know exists, and that is Facebook.com/us. Now, if you are not in a relationship, it's just going to take you to your account profile where you can cry yourself to sleep because why don't people love you? You have 2 dimples, yeah, you have a forehead wrinkle, but you have a great personality. You could go work out, or whatever your personal insecurities are when you are single. But if on Facebook you are in a relationship or married, you will find that there is a complete page about you and your significant other. A page showcasing your mutual likes, your mutual friends, pictures of things that you've done together. And since this was announced on November 8th and more people have seen this, many people have gotten angry, saying you are creating a page without my permission about my life, which then resulted in people saying, oh, well, Facebook is changing the way ownership works on the site. To which Facebook released a statement saying, no, that's not true. This is false. Anyone who uses Facebook owns and controls the content and information they post, as stated in our terms. They control how that content and information is shared. That is our policy, and it always has been. Now, personally, I kind of dig Facebook.com/us. It's this filter that allows me to just look at my relationship and be like, oh, that's cool. And if you really look at it, this is just an extension of something they introduced in 2010, which is friendship pages. If you go to one of your friends' pages, you click on that little that's the technical term, but just try and stay with me. I know that you're not that educated. You can click see friendship and see the exact same kind of page. And as far as my end, it seems that it's actually pretty private. When people try and see this page, but they're not my friends, they haven't been able to see it. When I try and see the relationship page of someone that's on my friends list and someone I'm not friends with, it doesn't give me any information. And as someone that takes the internet privacy, internet freedoms very seriously, I don't see this as an issue so much as a cool feature. It's kind of like being a teenager and being angry at your mom because she cleaned up your room. Actually, it's not even like that. It's like being a teenager, leaving your room completely messy, so then your mom was like, oh, by the way, here's this other room that I made for you. It's filled with happy memories and only your true friends can get access to it. And the teenager's like, God, Mom, you don't even know me. I didn't even want this. Now I have to keep up with something, but I don't have to. I'm really angry, and for some reason, when I get angry, I unbutton my jacket, because it makes me want to sit down and drink cocoa. That's how angry you made me, Mom. You just don't get me. So that was a thing. Next, in other tech news, we have Google connecting their Play Store with Google+. Those that don't know the Play Store, like if you have an Android device, this is where you can buy apps and you're like, oh, now I have Angry Birds and other things that save me from, the real world. Well, in an effort to improve the quality of the reviews on that store, they're making it so that if you do leave a review, you have to connect it to your Google+ account, which means that your real name and picture will be on your review. So people are like, oh, that is what Philip DeFranco thinks, and that is what he looks like. Don't know if I trust his review because he looks like a massive douchebag. Also, instead of Stoner1733 saying Angry Birds is to suck gay, it would be like Jeffrey Rollins. Is Jeffrey Rollins a real person? I hope not. I just looked it up and Jeffrey Rollins is a person. He works in the art department. He worked on Black Swan, The Bourne Ultimatum, Revolutionary Road. How do I know his name? He's a set dresser. Why was that name in my head? I'm getting off track. Main point, I want to know, Nation, does this bother you that Google wants you to actually use your name? I mean, their main goal here doesn't really seem to be like, you use your real name, but like in the grand scheme of 5-10 years is like this connection to Google+. Like, I don't know what the future holds for Google. I know that I connected my YouTube account to my Google+, and that's why for a little bit this wasn't the SXE Phil channel, it was the Philip DeFranco channel that I then took back. But I guess a bigger question to you, would you stop using YouTube if to like leave a comment or something like that you had to use your real name? Would that keep you from using the site, or would you just interact less? I mean, I find it interesting because my name's already out there, so I that's why it's a gray area for me. That's why I ask you. So let me know. Then I knew that at first kind of made me like, but now I'm kind of like, maybe. It has been released that both Corey and Topanga have signed on for the Boy Meets World sequel. If you don't know what Boy Meets World is, sit down. Let me tell you a story, Sonny. Back in the 90s, there was an ABC sitcom called Boy Meets World. It's pretty good, then it ended. That's the story. It's really not, it's pretty just basic. In addition to that story, it would be a few months back, I had a weird sex dream about Daniel Fishel, but as Topanga, and I tweeted her about it, and then she tweeted me back. That's kind of how I meet girls these days, I think. And while there is not much known about the new series, what we do know is that even though it was on ABC, it will come back on the Disney Channel. The new series will be called Girl Meets World and takes place over a decade after the finale of the last series, and will be centered around Riley, the 13-year-old daughter of Corey and Topanga. So having grown up with that show, I am excited, but I am also nervous that they're going to ruin things. But who knows? I guess we'll see. Then news for those like me that are fearful of the vampire robot Nazis or also zombie revolution of 2016. It's gonna happen. I'll meet you in Kansas. Well, right before Thanksgiving, good old Turkey Day, the Pentagon was busy making up new policies, and one of them that may make you happy is that the Pentagon has made clear that every time one of its flying robots release its lethal payload, it's the result of a decision made by an accountable human being in a lawful chain of command, issuing a series of instructions to, quote, minimize the probability and consequences of failures in autonomous and semi-autonomous armed robots that could lead to unintended engagements, which ultimately means the Pentagon has no intention to make Skynet as of now. So if you're over there in Afghanistan and one of your friends is killed by a drone missile, no, it wasn't a robot, it was a human controlling a robot. Next up, let's talk about a story that has a lot of people angry, and that is an American woman, a New Yorker over in Hungary on vacation, died. And her husband is saying this is because 3 airlines failed to fly her back to America so she could get proper medical attention. So based on the headline, I am furious, but when you take a look at the situation, it's not that simple. Let's talk about the woman who died, Vilma Soltes. And keep in mind, I'm not happy that someone died. In fact, it's always, well, 99.9% of the time, it's sad. But Vilma Soltes was a 425-pound woman who was in a wheelchair because she lost her leg to diabetes. So understand, it is very hard and a special situation to get this woman on a plane. So here's what happens. They go on vacation for several weeks. They have, I guess, a good time, and then they want to fly back home on an airline called KLM. But soon after they boarded, they were told they had to deboard the plane because there was a problem with the seat back for her seat, and they did not have proper belt extenders. If you don't know, if you are that large, you have to take up more than one seat, and you have to have a much larger belt. KLM does not leave her high and dry, though. They talk to and deal with Delta, found a bigger plane, and they're like, okay, here we go. 5-hour drive to Prague, you're gonna get on this bigger plane, but an airline spokesman said Delta crew members were physically unable to board Vilma onto the aircraft. And this was because there was no one there to operate the skylift, which was necessary when you're dealing with a 425-pound woman in a wheelchair. They then tried a third and final airline, Lufthansa, which was back in Hungary, so another 5-hour drive. But once again, they could not board her on the plane, and this was despite 30 minutes working with local partners, the fire brigade, technical experts. Vilma was still unable to securely fasten her seatbelt, and the captain decided to ask her to leave for the safety of this passenger and the over 140 fellow passengers. Vilma's health then deteriorated rapidly, and she died 2 days later of kidney failure. So once again, a bad story, but it sounds like these airlines tried. It doesn't sound like a case of discrimination because they tried. Not to mention the fact that it was your choice to not get medical care in the country that you currently were. I don't know about you, but when my life is in danger, I will take whatever. Like if I'm on the edge of a cliff, I will grab anyone's hand to pull me up. My worst enemy, a hand that is covered in feces and needles filled with HIV-positive blood, I'm grabbing that hand. But the husband said neither he nor Vilma trusted the doctors in former communist Hungary to treat her and her needs. And to be fair, WHO, the World Health Organization, did rank Hungary the 66th in the world as far as healthcare in the year 2000, but America's 37th. I mean, it's not like you'd be going to a doctor in Burma. It is your choice. And I think the reason that I'm getting so angry about this is the husband is trying to sue. But boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, just a little DeFranco life advice for you. This is the real world, okay? And I'm not gonna even go into fat shaming because it's linked to diabetes and that's a whole complex issue. But in life, you make decisions. Those decisions have consequences. Those decisions like, I don't know, going on vacation as a 425-pound person with only one leg, and you know that there is just a whole complicated way to even get you to board a plane. Or the fact that you can get medical attention in a certain country, but you don't because you have a preference. But you can't legitimately blame the airline. If you're a man of God, blame him. If you're a man of science, blame bad genetics or inactivity. But this is the real world. You cannot walk up to the ocean and expect it to part. You either swim or you sit on the beach and you made your decision. But nation, once again, this is the PDS. I give information, I give my opinion, but I want to know your opinion. Do you think that the airlines are at fault? Is someone else at fault that I didn't even think of? Let me know what you think in the comments down below or a video response. Remember to possibly win a $100 Amazon gift card. Leave a comment down below. Join the conversation. Maybe hit the like button, favorite if you really like it. But of course, as always, my name's Philip DeFranco. You've just been filled in. I love yo faces, and I'll see you tomorrow. JD, show your face. This is JD.
Hey.
He's my one black friend.
Yeah, I allow him to say the N-word every once in a while. That's me who's doing that.
When I say it and I put a picture over it, it's actually him saying it, doing his best.
Literally,
Philip
you look
DeFranco.
in the dictionary for Philip DeFranco being a dick to black people, and it's me like, it's okay.
He gives me permission.
Yeah, every once in a while. Are you playing fucking Wii?
Yeah, you can do it. I'm gonna hit
Oh
this.
yeah, I forget about. I mean, I've been.